When they do come off it, all hell breaks loose and they just massively revert back to where they were.
There's a lot of head fuckery going on at that point in time because you are playing on that fine line of body dysmorphia. What is still one myth you hear with ladies and training in the gym that you wish would just kind of get in the bin?
I think one of the biggest things still is around this idea that
Welcome to the PerformWell podcast, the podcast for you if you're looking for performance and wellness strategies from top experts in the field, such as myself and Dan King. Please do like, subscribe, and follow us if you're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or any other platform, because it really does help us get the message out and also help more people like yourself.
Well, welcome back to another episode, guys. We have Dan, as you know, and Philly Fleming, the online
Hi.
fitness coach, masters in nutrition. This is going to be a good one. We've had quite a few nutritionists lately, and so it's bloody amazing to have you on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Nice. Did you say you got injured, by the way?
I did, badly as well. I injured my hip. It's been a good couple of years now. I'm still trying to make my comeback. So,
Right.
yeah, it's not the best.
And what was that? So you said labrum, was it?
They think I damaged like the labrum in my hip, essentially like labral tear.
No.
But because it got so long to diagnose, like it's one of those things that's going to be really hard to say. But I've just ended up with so many dysfunctions in my hip. It's just relentless. So, but we are getting there now.
That's
actually,
that's the problem with the hip, though, isn't it? There's so much to like going on there.
Yeah.
Like it's basically quite a complex joint.
Yeah.
That's just the best way to describe it.
Yes.
Whereas the knee is just a hinge, the hip has this huge mobility.
Exactly.
And this is one of the reasons why you're trying to be a physio.
I am. I start my physiotherapy masters in January. So yeah.
Physio masters.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay.
Another one.
I was like, another one. Just throwing it in
stacking
there.
like medals.
Yeah, it wasn't my plan of action, but here we are.
I feel like that'd be a good route to go down to talk to you about, because you're highly knowledgeable in the field. Like, you are masters in nutrition, you're going for a masters in physio. That they're not small things to do. These are big old courses. There's a hair on here. It's really bothering me. Sorry. They're not small things to do. So what drew you into the fitness space in the first place, and then what's kind of prolonged your journey to where it is now?
Gosh, I think there's so much you could talk about within that. I was a very, very skinny teenager, and I was, grew up in that sort of late 90s, early 2000s where you were just expected to be stick thin, low-rise jeans, Keira Knightley vibes, and just fad diets everywhere. So I sort of grew up with that, and then I was so skinny, and I was just like, right, let me try and get into the gym. Did not expect to fall in love with weightlifting, because I started as a cardio bunny, like most girls probably do. But I just loved it, honestly, and ended up sort of carrying on, competed a little bit in bikini bodybuilding, and then moved past that and just went, do you know what, I just love training. It's as simple as that. I don't really need a goal specifically. I just like feeling fit. I like feeling strong, and it makes me happy. So stuck with it.
Wait, what year did you start as PT?
In person or?
Yeah.
I've done in person kind of on and off. Okay. So I started coaching fully about 9 years ago, and then in person was kind of like dotted into that, but most of my work's usually been online. So
you're doing bikini. I mean, I can only think of the guys, obviously for physique, not bikini.
Yeah.
Although there is a bikini for men now, for bodybuilding. Have you seen it?
I don't know how I feel about that.
Like a bikini.
Have you seen it?
Yes. Yeah.
He's wearing a bikini, and well, is it a he? It is.
I don't know.
I think it's marketed as a him.
Yes, it is.
Organisation.
I'm sure it's a men's bikini.
Bikini competition.
Yeah.
Oh, it's getting quite complicated.
But you were competing when you had like Jeremy Biondier, Ryan Terry. I'm imagining that kind of era.
Yeah, probably would have been.
I don't know what females were competing at that time.
I don't really know.
I mean, you
to
were,
be perfectly
obviously.
honest. Yeah, it was one of those where like I wasn't so heavily involved in like the bodybuilding world at the time. It was just sort of something that I thought, do you know what, I'll give that a go.
We talk about this a lot. I mean, look, I've done bodybuilding on stage, physique. I'm not big enough for bodybuilding. Dan has yet to try this.
I'm not doing that. I'm out of that window.
He'll have a taste of it one day.
I've told you, that's one line I'm drawing. I'm just not. It's not me. It's not me. I know it's not me.
That is absolutely fair enough.
Yeah.
And I agree. And like, as you know, like when you're doing it and you completely like cut down your calorie intake to like a drastically low amount.
Yeah.
Although you feel kind of a good at the time. Yeah. When you look back.
Yeah. I'll be honest, it wasn't for me. I did it, and I'm very glad I did, but I would absolutely never do it again. And I came out of that thinking, yeah, this wasn't for me at all. I didn't like being that lean. I didn't like how I looked. It wasn't very feminine, I suppose, with how I wanted to look at the time. I was just so lean. I had like pecs like a teenage boy. It was just not, it really wasn't what I wanted. So I came out of that thinking, do you know what? I much prefer feeling strong, eating food, you know, feeling happier and energetic. And I just came straight back and went into that again.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think compositionally as well, a lot of people aspire to look at those bikini competitions. They think, oh my God, wow, you know, these ladies look fantastic. And, you know, you're getting so much support at the time for these. And look, I'm here to support what's going on. But I find that the general structure of things and kind of the lead up to it, there's a lot of head fuckery going on at that point in time, because you are playing on that fine line of body dysmorphia there and thereabouts. How did you find your kind of more mental journey when you were going through that process and the lead up to the shows?
Do you know what? I find it really odd when I look back on it, because I actually think it made my relationship with food better and relationship with my body better, because I almost had to take it so restrictive when I was in that phase, because as a bikini girl I ended up on extremely low calories and extremely like high cardio.
How low?
I was towards the back end on about 1100 calories a day. It was really all. I was doing my masters at the time. It was a terrible idea in hindsight, and I was just like, this was bad. But no, because I did have to restrict so much, it almost forced me to kind of go, I don't want to do this. Like, I just don't. And I don't want that to be like, oh, you know, that's really sad because I chose to do that. It was absolutely my decision. But I came out of it and I was just like, do you know what? I want more balance in my life. This is exactly what I want to do. So it actually made all of that sort of 90s dieting culture like slightly better in my head, which I know is the opposite for most people. Yeah. So it's probably an anomaly.
I mean, I missed the 90s, but you know, I was a baby then, but it was such a good era, man. I love it. Apart from that, apart from the diet culture,
basically.
I mean, diet culture is always like a pain in the ass.
It's worse now. I think it is genuinely worse now because there's more publication.
I don't think it's ever going to get better.
No,
I think it's always going to... I think human nature is the problem.
The last happy day of eating anyone had was eating the school cakes. Anyone remember school cakes with the sprinkles on top?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, you mean
best day.
That's a birthday cake one?
Yeah. That was the best day of my life.
It's like Tottenham cake, but
it's
with like sprinkles.
really terrible sponge with just icing and sprinkles.
It's not a terrible sponge, right?
Days.
Get some protein in there nowadays. You can make like a new protein
you've just ruined
sponge
it for me.
version.
You've ruined it for me.
A whey protein school cake. Who would make a whey protein school cake?
I mean,
I'm absolutely adamant that if I'm going to have cake or whatever it is, treats, it can't be protein based. It just can't. No. Like, it needs to be the real deal.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, there's a trend
on our last podcast we talked about this, didn't we?
I was going to say, there's a trend though. We didn't talk about this on the last one. What? The cottage cheese epidemic that's going on. People throwing cottage cheese and everything.
Yeah.
No, that's so wrong.
Literally everything. People are making like pancakes out of cottage cheese now just to get the protein high. I'm like, just make goddamn pancakes. Stop trying to make it high protein every time.
Have a protein shake on the side.
Yeah, exactly.
We were literally saying people pay like £5 more just to have protein wheat pasta with like 2 extra grams of protein. That's it.
It's always so minimal as well. Like the marketing on these high protein products is so bad when you look at it, because it's so minimal, the amount of protein. It's always terrible quality, like soy protein or something. And they can just put enough in it just to label it as high protein, and then people
can't just have more chicken.
Yeah,
just get an extra 100 grams of chicken.
Well, to be fair, I like your philosophy. I preached it the other day and people are like, oh, that makes sense. I'm like, yes.
It's easy, isn't it?
It does.
It's so simple.
Yeah, I also then did get a comment saying like, you're the most sarcastic man I've met. I'm like, look, I'm here to tell you just eat more food and feel better about it. That's what I'm trying to do.
Bodybuilders get that right when it comes to the protein intake. They just get the protein right. They just eat chicken, they eat eggs, they eat beef. That's it.
Whole sources of protein.
They get it right.
Not just protein, like fortified foods.
I know. I mean, okay, some bodybuilders might also then have mass gainer shake.
Yeah.
With ridiculous amount of protein and carbs, but that's here and there. Because you said you were skinny when you were younger?
Yes.
Yeah, and obviously, I'm not saying you're not skinny now, by the way. But obviously, we were all skinny at one point. And when we say skinny, I'm talking lanky, lean, beanpole, all those horrible names that give me trauma.
That's exactly what I got.
Horrible,
yes.
But mass gainer shake was the fix.
Really?
Yeah. 2,000 calories. You got this big like dog bag and this big shovel scoop, and you just like put it in with milk, like probably barely any milk whatsoever, and you just drink it back.
It's like cement, and you're just trying to drink it.
I do remember those.
And back then I didn't know anything about gut health, so it was perfect.
Yeah. lovely. Perfect naivety.
Yeah, perfect. What was it, the big USM ones? Because USN did those ones that you could buy on
They
Holland & Barrett.
did.
It was like the black and red ones,
Yeah.
the chalky flavor. But there were like 3 scoops in it with creatine, but people didn't really know about creatine at the minute. They used to be my go-to.
Creatine used to be cheap.
It did used to be cheap.
£5 for a bag that lasted 60 days.
But now you can just bump up the price because people are starting to talk about it more. I think actually...
As you know by now, this podcast, we do chat a lot of shit.
Yeah,
fine by me.
this podcast in 101. I did want to talk to you about this. Now, I think it would be really good to talk about how you have built your body with a taller frame. Because I see that's something you talk about a lot.
Yeah.
And like finding movements that suit your frame better. I think I remember some of your content you did in the past. You used to back squat, but then you swapped to a front squat because it worked with your levers better.
It does.
Can we like talk on that a little bit? How did you find out a better way of training for being taller, basically?
It's all person dependent because you can actually have a shorter person with long femurs. It just depends on your proportions. I think what's important to know from a body perspective is you're never going to look like a short girl who lifts. You're just not. You're just going to look different because you're longer. I get called long. That's my thing. I'm just long.
You're long.
Yeah. For me, like back squatting is something I've always struggled with. My levers are just not right for a back squat. It would be very awkward looking. And by the way, that's okay. Like I actually think sometimes a lot of Instagram influencers are short, so you watch them do things like squats and it looks so perfect and so aesthetic and you're like, oh, how nice. And then I try and do it and I'm like a freaking giraffe. It's awful.
It's like Jeff Nippard, for example. He's built.
Yes.
And I'm not putting this against him because he is an intelligent guy and he is built.
Yeah.
But he's shorter and it's easier when you're shorter.
It's
easier to fill out your frame, look proportional, get stronger. It's been proven it's easy to get stronger. The bench press is one of those hot, like for me, look at the fucking length of these bad boys. Like it's so much extra range.
I know.
Do you
Your
know what I
arm
mean?
just goes down forever.
Yeah.
I know exactly. Yeah. If I have to squat, it is like I have to go quite wide. Like it's all just a little bit awkward.
Is that the same with a low bar squat?
Yeah,
versus a high
I
bar
don't
back
really
squat?
like low bars. I never have.
Yeah.
I personally much prefer a front squat. I don't know why. I can just sit so much better into it. It feels better. It feels more comfortable. I can load it more, like, which is weird, you'd think, from a front squat to a back squat.
I mean, I'm
normally
6'4"
you load it less,
and I'm
but
telling you, I hate the front squat. But
they are vile. I will not lie, but they just suit
I nearly
me better.
passed out on it because I got the bar, like I was taught to like put it right next to the neck.
Yeah, they
but I
do.
didn't went too far, and I was like that, and then I ended up like veins bursting out my neck.
They absolutely crush your lungs
Mm.
towards the end of a set. No, they're not the nicest of things, but they do just suit me better. That or a machine-based squat, like a hack squat or pendulum. I'm just much better suited for those movements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about exercise. It's not about doing an exercise just because you see it online and you see it suit one person. It's making it for yourself and make it personable.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing for me when I injured my back. I didn't want to do back squats. I went onto hack squats because it's more supportive. And like the same thing with RDLs. Like I've got someone who physically cannot do an RDL because they are larger in size. So they find it really difficult to keep the bar close to the body and it gets knocked away. So thereby do a trap bar deadlift where they can start from the bottom. And it's like, you got to make these little tweaks in training. And I think sometimes it causes people to fall out of love with training in regard as well. Because they're like, I can't do what she does online. I should be able to do what she does. I'm like, you don't know the background of the story.
No.
And again, when you come back to your story as well, obviously physique wise, amazing physique. You've worked so hard to get to where you've got to now, honestly. And I think it's something that you do portray really well in your content to people to encourage them. I want to kind of come on to the female training topic as well, because more ladies train in the gym than ever before these days. And I think it's fantastic. What is still one myth you hear with ladies and training in the gym that you wish would just kind of get in the bin?
Yeah, I think it's getting so much better. Like, it's particularly with young girls, it's amazing how many of them train. I literally look at them and wow, this is incredible. Like, imagine if that was like that when I was younger. But yeah, I think one of the biggest things still is around this idea that you have to lift for light weights for high reps. Like, that's really not a thing. And toning. Like, don't get me started on toning. Toning as a concept doesn't really exist. It is literally just building muscle and losing fat. It is just one of those terms that has creeped up in female fitness to try, and I get it, it's trying to encourage women to start lifting because the idea of building muscle can be quite an intimidating concept. So I understand that, but it doesn't really exist. So there's nothing specific you can do to tone because it is literally just building muscle and losing some fat. In terms of lifting high weights for high weights, wrong way round, low weights for high reps, it's just so unnecessary. Technically, you can build muscle lifting any weight as long as you are lifting towards failure. and progressively overloading over time.
Mm-hmm.
But if you think about that logically with really, really high rep sets, if you're progressively overloading for like 6 weeks, you're going to end up with like 50 rep sets.
Yeah.
And like, who the hell is going to do 50 reps? They're going to give up before that for a whole load of reasons. You're going to get bored. It's going to be lactic acid. There's so many reasons why you would stop that set. Plus, it's very time consuming.
For those that don't know what a high rep set actually is, what are we talking in terms of rep count?
Yeah, so say like 20 or above, let's say. Just as an
20's a lot.
example, because
Yeah,
a lot of women do this. They think, right, I'm going to lift this 2 kilo dumbbell, but I'm going to just do loads of reps because that's how you tone.
Yeah.
That's really not very productive when you think about it. Where do you progress from there? Where do you go other than more reps?
More reps.
I mean, at the very beginning of a person's journey, like higher reps can be a good starting point, especially just to like build up the actual capacity to do the exercise properly.
Sure.
But if we're talking like actually progressing past that stage, then yeah, I totally agree.
Particularly with like your big compound lifts, like a squat, for instance. You can easily lift more than 2 kilos.
Mate, GVT, bro. 10 sets of 10, baby. 1 minute rest.
I'm totally like just convulsing at the thought of doing 20 reps of squats.
I mean, hey, this is the bodybuilding world's to blame for this, because bodybuilding is about volume, and like there is a link between volume and like growth, at least in terms of like the physical, the wateriness of the muscle, like the size of it, right? The pump, should we say? So I think that world is blended in and made everyone feel like they have to do high volume.
Yeah,
I'm very much of the belief 2 sets to failure on one of them is the way forward.
I have absolutely nothing against volume in general, but you still need to be training towards failure within that. That's the thing. That's the thing that gets missed, I think, with a lot of the high rep sets that women do, because they're not really training to failure.
No.
Not that you can right at the beginning of your journey. Of course, it's not going to be that clear cut. But as you progress, like, you need to actually be pushing yourself with some weights.
What about the caveat to that in terms of the ladies that come in, they say they don't want to get big like a man. They don't want to like manly shoulders or anything. And then within a year or two, they might be genetically gifted. Suddenly they've got the biggest shoulders ever. I've seen some ladies with big shoulders.
Yeah.
You know? And it's not a bad thing. Like, if girls want big shoulders, they can have big shoulders.
Yeah.
But then obviously some are unhappy about it. They're like, well, I've kind of been trapped into thinking I need to lift heavy. There's that as well.
I want to say those are probably the minority, those people.
Yeah.
Unless you've got some freaky genetics, it's going to take you... I'm still trying to get big. Like, it's been 12 years. Like, it's not happening.
Don't get too big.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's extremely hard to build muscle, particularly as a female. I think a lot of people think it's a lot easier than it is. So naturally, if you think like that, you would be scared of doing it. I actually saw a video this morning that really made me laugh. It was something like, I didn't want to go for a run today just because I really don't have time to go to the Olympics. Just don't. And that was the same concept as like, I don't want to lift some weights because I don't want to get really big. Like, it's the same thing when you think about it like that. You're not just going to do that overnight or be that huge or fast or whatever it is.
Because in their head they're thinking, I saw this guy on Instagram, he was jacked, he was lifting the same thing I'm lifting, so maybe I don't want to do what he's doing.
Exactly. But it's like some guy going, don't know if I want to bench press that, I might just turn into C-bum.
I'm like,
overnight.
So the biggest problem here is influencers. These are causing the problems. Social media influencers are causing this issue in people's heads that make them feel they should train a certain way. Is that what we're saying?
It is very perfectly curated on Instagram, I have to say. What do you mean when you say into training a certain way? So
some influencers, some social media people out there will train a certain way. They'll say, this is the best way you should train because this is what's worked for me. But then it doesn't apply to everyone. No, like we're talking like normally the more inexperienced ones that have just focused on training themselves and then they get into coaching later, as opposed to those that go down the career path of helping people and then do it that way. Tend to find that they get in shape, they find a certain way that works for them, they tell everyone else they should train that way.
Yeah, I don't agree with
those
that.
people.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. Just because it worked for them, fantastic. But it really depends on the person. Like, you could have someone with quite high genetics for building muscle and they might find that actually if they do some, I can't think of an example, but they do some like body pump classes and they just get really hench really quickly. That works for them. Fine. It works for them. And I don't think there's necessarily a right or wrong way to train. It's just what works for you. And it's absolutely fine if people are on social media saying, hey, look, this is what worked for me. So you can try it. But it's not like the be all and end all.
Can we all come to a consensus then? What would be a good starting point if we had to give sets and reps? What would be a good starting point for a beginner?
I'd say somewhere between 3 sets of 8 to 12, just a really good place to start.
Yeah.
I normally, when I'm kind of when I've got new people coming in, I normally kind of go like 10 as a warm up, and I normally go slightly higher volume to start with, but for technique basis.
Yes, exactly.
Because it's like, it's getting rid of the junk in their sets basically, because you don't, again, there's always nuance to everything around training. I think there's people need to understand that there's no concrete way of doing it. But like, if you've got someone new coming in who's never touched a dumbbell in their life, they are probably going to have really shit form. Let's be honest, like when we started. So if you can go in and give them as many reps as you think is possible before they get bored, but they can practice with a low weight at that point in time, that's kind of where I say, okay, do a set of 8 to 15. As soon as you hit the 8, cool, you've ticked off, you can hit that kind of bottom of the rep range, try and hit up to a 15 with good form and good technique. If that's all good, increase the weight, and then after like 4 weeks of doing that, then maybe look at your 6 to 8s, your 8 to 12s, and like shorten the rep range a bit. But play around with that kind of larger rep range to give a bit more freedom, I think, to people.
So we're saying slightly on the higher end. I mean, 8 to 12 is kind of a middle of both. It's the hypertrophy like sweet zone in a lot of ways. I would still do 12 to 15 for people that have been on a strength cycle for 4 to 6 weeks and they need a deload. It does help to have a little bit of a brief pause on heavy weights to let the joints recover, because if people are just smashing weights all the time and progressing over time, the joints just don't keep up. We're talking tendons, ligament structures. We need to have these periods where we deload the amount of weight we're lifting.
I do agree with that. I think sometimes they're overused though.
Oh yeah, I agree.
I have to say, like, particularly if you're at the beginning of your journey, you don't need to be deloading every 6 weeks.
No, not 6 weeks. No.
And people aren't going to be at a point. I similar to what you've just said there. People aren't going to be working to that level of central nervous system fatigue, muscular fatigue, that they're going to need a deload. I think I used to, when I first started as a PT, one of the biggest mistakes I ever made was follow like this wave-based training program. It was like 3 weeks of heavy lifting, 1 week deload. But then I didn't actually need the deload after the third week, because I hadn't accrued the volume or training fatigue from those 3 weeks. I just went, it's my fourth week. I need a deload. Sure. But it doesn't work that way. You have to learn kind of the biofeedback of your body to say, actually, I know how fatigue feels. This is it now. This is where I need it.
That's a very personalised thing, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. But that's when you build that up.
We're saying, rather than like, here's a 3 week structure, then 1 week deload, you need to base it on how you're feeling. Because if you're getting achy all the time and suddenly starting to get sharp pains in places they shouldn't get them, then maybe you need to do something different. At that point, like, you probably are doing too much. But I was always brought up with the idea that every 12 weeks, roughly, there should be some kind of deload week.
Yeah,
about 3 months.
With my clients, depending on how advanced they are, it's usually anywhere between sort of 8 and 12 weeks that we look at just having a deload. It doesn't necessarily have to be the longest thing in the world either, but just having a little bit of a break. And I usually ask them at week 8, like, how are you feeling? How are your lifts progressing? Have you felt like you've really stalled? Are you tired? Are you not recovering well enough? And then we have those conversations throughout that time. And obviously, whenever they need that little bit of a break, that's when we run it.
And it can also be just a lighter week as well. It doesn't have to be like you're not training week, although that could coincide with someone's holiday. For example, let's say their holiday's 13 weeks away. Maybe you push all the way up to 13 weeks. And then you give a deload week.
It's got to work with the timings in their life as well. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's so personal to what you've got going on with that person as well, and it's just fitting around what you need to do. That's why coaches like us come in useful, because you can have those conversations with people to better understand your own structure. And we are literally a cheat code into these people's lives, because we've been there, we've lived it, we've done it, we've made the mistakes. We're not there just to make money off you. We're there to teach you, so you don't have to keep spending money or sit there watching endless amounts of TikToks and get that analysis by paralysis. 2-hour long videos of somebody lifting who's probably not where you're going to get to over time. One thing I did want to come on to is you speak a lot on hormones in the menstrual cycle when lifting. I'd be really interested on touching on that a little bit, and there's been some stuff coming up recently about kind of training cycling, or like cycling your training around your menstrual cycle. What kind of comments do you get from the ladies that you train around that?
It's very individual. I think it would be stupid to think that our hormones don't affect how we feel. Like, logically they do, but let's be honest, there's not much research on it. I think what is best to do with that, rather than sticking to that I'm inevitably going to feel weak at this week every month, because you might not. Not only is your cycle going to be different to someone else's, but your cycle is going to be different each month. So it's really not helpful to think, oh, I'm going into the gym today, but it's going to be really bad, because it might not be. You might actually be fine. So I actually think the best thing that you can do is try and keep tabs on how your body feels. Try and track if there are any patterns you can pick up on, rather than comparing it to what anyone else is doing. And there might not be, and that's okay. And I think sometimes just going into the gym with no expectations and going, I'm just going to see how this goes. If I feel weak for whatever reason, then okay, maybe today I focus a little bit more on technique. Maybe today I don't go for that PB or whatever it is. But you might actually feel brilliant, and it might really surprise you. It could be a day where you feel quite fatigued, you might have cramps, you might not feel your absolute best, but you might go into the gym and have an absolutely epic session. You don't really know until you try. So I think going with how you feel is so important.
And I think the cognitive side of training comes in quite importantly, because if you go in and you're telling yourself, look, nobody's done a heavy squat and sat there thinking how weak they feel, how terrible they feel. Nobody's done that. And I think sometimes as well we can exacerbate the symptoms that we feel, like especially like if we talk on injuries quickly, when you feel injured, probably similarly when you're feeling kind of a little bit sorry for yourself and what you're experiencing, not saying any injury is like to be bypassed by feelings, but like it can make it worse from like a psychosomatic side, you know.
Absolutely does.
It makes that set that you could probably push a little bit more, so much harder, mentally so much harder. It's like doing an extra K on a run after doing ridiculous hill intervals or something like that. And I think similarly when it comes to the menstrual cycle, I've chats with some of the ladies that I train, I'm like, look, it's based on how you feel now. It's not based on you looking at your flow app and going, coming up, cannot lift heavy that week, no, gotta chalk that one off. Doesn't work that way. I think Brent Contreras actually spoke about this a little bit recently, and he said the same thing. There was a lady who did a post, she was doing 190 kilo deadlifts, and she did the same deadlift across follicular, luteal, and during her ovulation phase, no changes, still lifted that same heavy weight, which is amazing. But I think there's another kind of factor that comes in there that which people see someone else talk about and they go, that must apply to me. Has to be true. Has to be true.
Apologies for interrupting the episode. We appreciate you probably got really engrossed into what our experts are having to say right now. However, we've just dropped something very exciting. It's a 50-page high-protein recipe guide with so many recipes in there to really help you increase your energy levels, increase your confidence, and also help with those fat loss and muscle gain goals that I know have been so difficult to attain for so long. It's perfect for people that don't want some fancy schmancy recipe with loads of ingredients you've never heard of. These are simple, basic recipes that you can follow to help you hit your goals. Go check out in our description through the link.
What other comments do you get from ladies regarding their training, mainly coming up in check-ins, that you find are kind of like reasons why they're like, not feeling good about this today?
Usually it's fatigue, if we're talking hormones here. Fatigue, cramps, feeling quite low energy, low motivation. That happens to me every month, so I fully get it. I can really get it. Not every session is going to be brilliant either, and I think that's so important to know. You can't always go in and progress everything. You don't always go in thinking this is going to be the best thing ever, I'll have the time of my life. But actually going in sometimes and getting moving is actually very helpful from a menstrual symptom perspective. I personally find that when I do have bad cramps, if I actually can get myself to go to the gym, even to do something gentle, it helps. It makes me feel better, and that's not for everyone, but it helps me personally, and I do think it helps a lot of my clients too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously not a lady, so I can't relate, but I have noticed that my female clients tend to be the more consistent ones throughout the month, even when they do go through this cycle, because I've probably could count the amount of times that I've had a male complain and then drop the weight on something because of feeling a certain way a particular day, but ladies don't tend to do that as much. Or at least maybe I've just got different ladies, but these ladies are on it, man. They come in and they feel all kinds of things and they're just on it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's because they're used to it and they're used to these swings, and maybe they just go through it.
I think we get used to dealing with quite a lot, to be perfectly honest. So
because obviously we know man flu is quite a dangerous epidemic at the moment.
No.
And men just can't cope with flu very well. But I think maybe it is a mental thing. You know, maybe it is a mental thing.
Yeah, I do think we get quite good at I think there are pros and cons to this, but we get quite good at just sucking things up and carrying on. Yeah, I have a really rough time of it every month, but if I can get myself out of the house, I generally start feeling a little bit better just from doing something.
Yeah, 100%. It's just kind of like playing into the role of like, say if you're ill, you do things that you would do if you weren't ill, to try and make you think that you feel better, and then in time you do feel better. It's kind of like law of attraction, manifestation-y kind of feelings.
I do agree though. Some of the best sessions are the ones you don't think are going to be that good. It's weird.
It's nice those ones. They catch you off guard, and you're like, oh, this is great.
You come out feeling like a beast. You're like, oh man.
I guess it's like lack of pressure then though, because you're not setting an expectation for the session. You're just going in and having fun and doing like what you should be doing.
I would say if 2/3 of your sessions don't feel that good, that's pretty normal. In my opinion. Like when I was in the beginning stages, it's a bit different because you're growing so quickly that you're on this momentum. You feel good, and maybe at the beginning of a kind of a new program, you're back on that kind of rhythm. But once you get used to just consistent progression, 2/3 of your workouts aren't going to feel like particularly that amazing. It's just getting in there and doing it, and then you're going to have a third of them going to feel great. And those are the ones that you'll remember, and you don't know when they're going to come. It's like the second wind when you're running. You don't know when it's going to come, but when it does, it bloody hits. It feels good.
I did want to talk on something. I think one of the key things I've spoken to with just people in general is people falling out of love with training. Have you ever fallen out of love with your training before?
Yeah, definitely.
And how have you overcome that?
Stick it out. I always think it happens. Like, you just ride the wave and it comes back around. You will love it again. I think it's completely unreasonable. You don't love anything all the time. Like, it just doesn't work like that. I think you're inevitably going to go through phases that are like, okay, it just feels like I'm just going through the motions here. Like, I'm not particularly loving it, I'm not particularly progressing, I'm just sort of here. But that's okay, because you always come back around to it, and I think the longer you train for, the more you realise that happens.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it helps obviously to like have a goal as well in between. So like if you're doing like bodybuilding training, conventional bodybuilding training, progressing slowly over weeks and weeks and weeks, that can sometimes be so monotonous, especially if I haven't got a goal like a bodybuilding show or a photo shoot or anything like that. It can get monotonous, and sometimes like maybe you need to freshen up the program slightly, or maybe have a new goal, maybe set something up like that can really just spark that progression again.
Sometimes it doesn't even have to be that deep. Sometimes even just like the littlest things, and it sounds really silly, but like get yourself a new gym outfit, train with a friend, like do something that just makes you go, oh yeah, that was good. You know, it doesn't have to be that much of a thing, but sometimes it does actually help.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Gym outfit will,
gym outfits. I mean, I'm not pushing you to go online shopping right now, but you know, it does help, I swear.
I have a client actually, he used to wear a baggy ass t-shirt every time he comes to the gym, and then he starts getting bigger. I notice it, he doesn't notice it, and I'm like, mate, just buy a new gym shirt. And he buys one and he looks jacked immediately. Yeah, that's why I wear tight shirts, because I'm a skinny guy and I need to look as jacked as possible. It boosts your confidence.
One thing I wanted to go on to is the nutrition side of things, actually. I think that'll be useful. So there's something, I think people seem to think there's a gender divide between what nutrition you need and like between males and females, basically. Yeah. Is there any specific things that females should be taking to help improve their health?
I wouldn't overcomplicate it personally. I know I have a master's in nutrition, but I actually think it's made me more savvy towards like what you need and what you actually really don't need. From a supplement perspective, do you mean? Yeah. I think for most people, general supplement every day that I'd go by would be a vitamin D, maybe a magnesium before bed, and fish oil. Other than that, don't really need a lot. And obviously creatine if you're going to the gym. Other than that, I really don't think you need a lot of things. I think you're better off just eating lots of nutritious food and calling it a day.
Would you say that there's an iron deficiency in women that needs to be addressed?
Not necessarily. It depends what you eat. Obviously, if you don't eat a lot of red meat or anything like that, then it might be worth considering. But not everyone is iron deficient or needs it. No. So no.
Okay, interesting. And with you said on creatine there as well, because there's again a lot of talk of creatine helping us outside of people training in the gym as well, because still a lot of ladies I think creatine makes you hench. How would you then have a conversation with someone who's like, oh, I saw this thing on the TV this morning, it said about women taking creatine? How would you navigate that conversation with them? What would you say?
Sure. I mean, creatine is very beneficial for gym performance, even if it just helps you get that extra rep. This is the thing. It's not going to do anything groundbreaking for you, but it's part of the energy system that we use a lot of when we're training. So if we can give that a little bit of a boost, it's only going to help you in terms of getting a little bit stronger and building that little bit more muscles. It's, like I say, it's not like a PED or anything. You're not suddenly going to do anything huge with it, but it can just be that little bit of a boost. And not everyone's going to get a huge benefit from creatine supplementation because it depends what your natural creatine levels are in your muscles. We call it a ceiling level that you can hit. So some people are very close to that ceiling level anyway. So obviously if you supplement, you're not going to make a groundbreaking difference. Some people are quite far away from it. So if they do supplement, they're going to just bring them up to that ceiling level.
Oh, interesting. Nice. That's a good way of putting it as well, because there are so many people, my mum especially, she was like, should I start taking this creatine stuff? And I was like, you can do. You can see if it's going to benefit you. You can always trial these things, and then you can kind of revert back to your like ways beforehand. I was like, you eating your red meat, so you're having your good stuff. And she was like, meh, kind of. I'm like, well, give it a go. Just see what happens. And I think this is the thing. Give things a go. Nothing is going to suddenly radically change your health or your life that much that it can't be reverted by going back to what you were doing before.
What I find funny is though, is you get ones like Tonga Ali, Fedoja Agrestis, you got that NMN, which everyone's talking about, improving like your mitochondria energy in the cell or some bullshit. And meanwhile, they're eating like crap.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, how can
this a lot.
You stop supplementing if your foundations are terrible? Like, try and get your foundations sorted first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's the same thing as men that go straight onto steroids and they eat like crap and they're not eating enough protein. They're not really training that hard. And it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
I mean,
what are you doing?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I actually think females are generally, sorry about this, but they are better at that. They're actually better at getting good form, training well and eating better before they do anything else.
Yeah, females are the most consistent for sure. Like they are some of the easiest clients to work with.
Yeah.
When it comes to like transformation, but their bodies don't transform as easily as men. That's the only thing.
Yes.
Like men transform like that if they're on it.
Yeah.
But it's hard to get a man on it, to be honest with you.
Well, it's tough, isn't it? I think this is coming down to like client to coach conversations. The amount we've had over the years, probably combined, is astounding. Yeah. But it does seem there is a general trend that becomes, I don't like to say frustrating, but it is in a way that you try to kind of demonstrate this is kind of where you should be, and all I'm trying to do is bring you back to the baseline. It seems to be an easier conversation to have with ladies and just getting them back to there again, whereas blokes are like, well, it kind of is working, I'm starting to see my biceps a bit more. I'm like, no, listen to what I'm saying, go through the process, because all of this stuff is a step-by-step process. And I think much like us, you see stuff from success stories. Follow a success story. How did it work for those people? What kind of like key trends can you pick out, and why would it work for them? One thing,
I think before we move on, just on this topic on nutrition very quickly, because obviously you're here, this is a topic at the moment, Manjaro.
Yes.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
GLP-1s in general, I mean, I think they have their place, absolutely, for certain people. Are they massively overused? Yes. There's a lot of people who actually, if they just sorted out their exercise and their diet and did it the normal way, would be absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Without Manjaro. But it is, unfortunately, a quick fix, and we all like quick fixes. So it's one of those things. The only thing I'd say is really pay attention to the side effects, and also make sure you get good habits in place, because once you come off of Manjaro, what then? And a lot of people that go on it, they don't have the right habits in place. They're not exercising. They're not, looking after their daily nutrition. They're not making sure they're getting enough protein. They're not doing all these daily habits that will allow them to keep it up. So when they do come off it, all hell breaks loose and they just massively revert back to where they were.
So this is good. This is good that you've said that, because you've got a master's in nutrition, so it's more valid when you say something like that. Because me and Dan, we spoke about this before. We get shit for it. But I'm of the same viewpoint as well. It's just, what do you do afterwards? Like, and I agree. There's people that would benefit from it for sure. Like, I'm talking like the people that are like, let's say, medically obese. They really need to do something about their health like immediately.
Sure.
Like for sure, like get them to lose weight, whatever means it takes. But for those that have 20 pounds to lose, to go to Ibiza, because their mate did it naturally and they can't, and they want to do it. They want to do it for that way.
Yeah.
Like, fucking no.
That's scary, isn't it? And it can really affect your health as well.
It's well, I know it's not exactly the same, but in my head, it's very much the flip side of a skinny guy taking steroids to get big. It's a shortcut.
It can be.
Yeah, and it's not the exact same kind of pathway, but the same mentality of this is a shortcut. I'm going to take something, do it this way.
It does worry me. My dad was on Manjaro, and I had plenty of conversations with him about that, but he was pre-diabetic and he wanted to do it. But we made sure that he had a good structure with his food, that he was still eating regular meals throughout the day, because he had no appetite at all. So it's very easy to become nutrient deficient during that time. So making sure he actually is eating enough, eating protein so that he maintained as much muscle mass as he could throughout the process, because that was a quick one to go. Making sure he had an exercise routine in place, and making sure he knew what he was doing with his food when he came off it. That was absolutely key, and that has meant that he has actually managed to keep his results and, you know, have a healthy lifestyle, whereas a lot of people don't have that. And the thing that's really, really missing is that education piece. I don't really think a lot of people who are being prescribed Manjaro are actually being educated with how to do this. It's don't get me started on this, but it's a similar thing with like the whole vegan trend. I have nothing against it if you want to be vegan, but you have to know, and you have to have the knowledge of how to do it in a nutritious way so that you're not becoming deficient in things. And I think that again, that wasn't there. It was just like, you should go vegan because it's healthy. But is it necessarily healthy is one that, don't get me started on that either. But like, absolutely fine if you want to do that, but you have to do it in a sensible way, and no one was teaching anyone how to do that.
No, it's like people saw, because Game Changers was huge, wasn't it, with the vegan side of things. Carnivore diets became bigger, but a lot of carnivores are now switching back to omnivorous diets. We won't go into too much detail there, because I'm sure we could go into it, but it's this kind of diet trends and fads that come around. People hear something, they go, oh, I'm going to give that a go, because Stacey down the road is giving it a go, and that means that I'm going to do the same thing as Stacey. But there was someone I heard who went on a carnivore diet, and they suffered from major health implications for it, because they were so deficient in things like their fibre, things like the vitamins and minerals that you get from plants. And it just, I think it still astounds me to this day how much desperation there is still out there, and how little hope people have in like basically the foundations, and how quick people want to change. I think it's only getting quicker as well. People come to us. I've had people want to turn around in like 4 weeks, and it doesn't happen like that.
No,
like,
it doesn't.
But it's annoying with the carnivore diet, because I'm not a carnivore diet guy at all. Like, I'm not here to say I am. But there have been some people, like Michaela Peterson, Jordan Peterson's daughter. I don't know if you know who she is.
I think I've heard of her.
Yeah, she's a devout carnivore dieter. Right. She has steak for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. She looks amazing. She says she feels amazing. How much of that's true, we don't know. But if it works for some people, it seems. But not. But it shouldn't work for everyone based on what we know about nutrition.
I'd be interested to know what her health markers actually are. I would, because I just don't think that's a healthy way for us to live.
No. There's a reason. I agree with you. I do agree. I think fibre has been shown to be so effective for so many things. And 20 to 30 grams a day is what we should be recommending.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just don't see how we can like refute that basic kind of foundation of nutrition that we've been told, like the NHS Eat Well plate, for example, has kind of been shoved into our faces as a kid. This is how your plate should be designed. The only thing I don't agree with is the 1/3 of dairy. Not sure why when you have to have so much dairy, but whatever. But yeah, no, that diet is so simple. Like, if you just follow that, most of your problems tend to go away.
I agree. I do think it's harder. I was having a conversation the other day with someone about, it was strange, it was about animals actually. And like my dog, for instance, he'll eat exactly what he wants to eat, and he will leave whatever when he's not hungry. He'll just, even if it's the tiniest little bit on the plate, he'll just leave it because he's not bothered. Whereas us, because our food has been so carefully curated to be something that's really enjoyable and releases loads of serotonin, it's much harder to be that exact and go, right, this is what I need, so this is what I'm going to eat. Because if it's really enjoyable, you're going to keep eating, or you're going to keep eating more processed food.
Yeah, but dogs don't have opposable thumbs or credit card either. So, you know, we can't stop ourselves. We're like we're fuckers, man. Do you know what I mean? We can just open a cupboard, we've got card, put Uber Eats. Like. Yeah.
So whilst a lot of people know deep down like what they should do, they're not doing it. Most people.
If we think about how like the human brain has evolved, though, like, you know, 10,000 years ago we're in the jungles, you know, where if we find something high in fat, we're going to eat it.
Yeah.
Whereas now our brains haven't quite caught up with our modern life.
No.
And you go to the shelves and you see all these foods that are like colourful packaging, you know, high protein, super high fat and sugar as well. It just, our brain is like, fuck, eat it. Like, we need to survive.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm the first to say I love cookies. They're like the top of my list. If I can have anything, Co-op white chocolate chip bakery cookies.
Strong.
White chocolate with a bit of chew to it.
Yeah, but then put them in the microwave.
So you get the melted chocolate in there as well.
And this is, by the way, absolutely fine to have these sorts of things. Like, and by no means am I saying that's a nutritious choice. It isn't. But if you have the understanding of the fundamentals and what you should be doing 90% of the time, that's okay. And I think that's what people don't necessarily understand fully.
I just had a cinnamon bun a minute ago. It was lovely. I can't lie. I love it. I like, genuinely, like, this is what happens when you get to that point where you understand that the rest of the diet throughout the day, I may be having that cinnamon bun, but everything else in my diet comes together really nicely. And I get that enjoyable food, but then I can also sit and enjoy it. And I think people don't actually sit and enjoy their food much anymore. I think it just goes, like, it disappears.
I mean, this is something that I personally noticed when James Smith was big on Instagram. He still is, but like when he was like in his heyday, you know, I was in the industry and I saw him talk about calorie deficit all the time, and we know calorie deficit is important for fat loss. I'm not saying it isn't, but sometimes that messaging come across as you can eat shit and still lose fat, and you can to some degree. So I think a lot of people think that we're trying to promote that you can eat ultra processed foods 80% of the time, 100% of the time, and lose weight, and that's what you should do.
Yeah,
but we don't.
No,
we're not saying go out there and eat fucking cinnamon buns all day every day.
Absolutely,
we're saying you can get away with
it.
Yeah,
I'd give that a go.
You can give it a try.
No, I know.
But that's the argument between fat loss and health, isn't it? Like,
oh god, yeah. And the thing is, like, no one's gonna want to. If you say you're eating in a calorie deficit, but it's made up of 100% cinnamon buns, you're gonna be starving on that.
You're gonna feel sick.
You're gonna feel sick, and you're gonna be starving. So, is that a really sensible way? And are you gonna keep up a calorie deficit just eating cinnamon buns? Probably not. You're gonna want something more substantial than that.
Yeah. 100%. It's about getting everything in there, isn't it? Because I said this to someone the other day. I said, like, look, if you're looking at fat loss, you are going to have to restrict some things. It's just the unfortunate nature of it. I'm not saying restrict everything, but if you're going to have a Kit Kat chunky, you have to expect you're probably going to feel hungry having that Kit Kat chunky rather than a bowl of Greek yogurt with some berries. Yeah. And it's going to make it more difficult to stay with your calorie deficit. But if it makes you happier for a short period of time, that means it makes you adhere to your diet better. Crack on.
Exactly.
But it's just, we have to have those expectations that if you're wanting to do fat loss, and I think some people watching this, probably clients that we've got too, have been trying for so long to lose X amount of weight or X amount of fat, and it just hasn't been happening. But like, realistically, some people take ages, some people take short periods of time. You've just got to find that little section that works for you and just keep ticking over, keeping consistent with it when you can.
A big one's social life. Yeah, you go out with your friends to have dinner with them, and like, some people are terrified of having a burger with chips. It's like, just have a burger with chips. It's not the end of the world. It's like, yeah, you can go down the route. If you're eating like crap most of the time, then yes, like, clean it up. But if you're eating good most of the time and you're going out for a social occasion, it's okay to have a few drinks and have a burger and some chips or whatever. It's completely fine. People, socializing is so important that for health in general. It's not talked about enough. Like, I'm talking like mental health and physical health. Because we release, you know, chemicals such as oxytocin, serotonin when we're with people. We need to have that. Like,
and a lot of social things are around food. Like, this is a big conversation that I have with my clients frequently, is about how to manage social occasions. And obviously, if you're in a fat loss phase, it's not the easiest thing ever. But I think an important consideration for it as well is psychological satisfaction. And if you go out for dinner and you have a salad, are you going to be psychologically satisfied? No. And you're probably going to go home and raid the cupboards. Let's be honest. If you had what you actually wanted and then got straight back on it the next day with your normal routine of food, great. Like, what's wrong with that?
That's when they have the salad and it's drizzled with extra virgin olive oil.
I know.
Oh, it's healthy though. Just lots of it, like 5 tablespoons of olive oil.
But what you said there is so key, that people will have healthy options, but they still raid the cupboard later because they haven't had satisfaction.
They haven't had the thing they actually wanted to have.
Just have that goddamn thing that you want. I saw a comment, it was on Eddie Abu. I don't know how he came up on my feed, I'm fed up with him, but I had Eddie Abu come up on my feed again talking about turkey eggs, and in the first comment I saw at the top, it was like
turkey egg?
I don't know, anyway. Basically the first comment at the top, what can I have to replace cereal as it's bad for me? And I just sat there and I was like, I guarantee this is probably a kid that listened to one of his videos talking about sugar and he's gone and got a lot of Cocoa Pops and gone, can't have that, got too much sugar in it. I'm like, no, it's got too much sugar in it for the person that sits on their arse all day and doesn't do anything with that sugar apart from move their fingers a few times. But if you go and actually go for a walk, you're going to use that sugar immediately. And if you're not having a breakfast and then having Cocoa Pops instead of not having a breakfast, I'd still prefer you to have Cocoa Pops. Yeah, it's not the most nutritionally
Chocolate squares.
They're good.
Chocolate
Craves.
squares.
But I think it's key to remember that, that kind of stuff coming on social media makes it so difficult to believe the advice that's out there. Now, in the female space for you've been doing it for a while. How do you know when a coach is actually speaking good advice, and how do you kind of determine that it's just someone maybe in a pink get-up spouting fluff?
Oh, that's a good question. Have they actually got any scientific backing behind what they're saying? I think that's the key. There's a lot of influencers that just copy other influencers and say what they're saying. And like, I think it is quite hard for people that don't really have the knowledge to know who they're supposed to trust and who they're not. I actually really feel bad for them in a lot of ways, because it's very easy to get caught in the wrong stream of information on Instagram. So do I know how to do that specifically for them? No, but maybe look at what their accreditations are. Have they got any qualifications? Do they actually know what they're saying? Or are they just, you know?
And obviously a big one like testimonials as well. If they've got like a whole fleet of testimonials, then clearly what they do works for some people.
Caveat though, people can produce a lot of testimonials, but not necessarily from the right methods.
Yes.
If you think about like some fat loss ones we've seen in the past, some of them are great quote unquote testimonials, but they look, do you know the pages I'm on about? When you go onto it, they've got 100k / followers, whatever, and it's just testimonials. There's nothing else but testimonials.
Yeah, but like, when you go to an Amazon to buy a product, you look at the review section,
of course
there's a lot of 5-star reviews, then you trust it, right?
I think if they look authentic.
So if you've got testimonials and they're good testimonials and people are saying that this service is great, then there's some truth in that.
What was it? There was a service over in, I'm not going to name where exactly it is, but it's somewhere over the river in Southampton. And they do a 6-week challenge where they promise people their money back if they don't lose. I think they said it was like £25 in 6 weeks.
Wow.
It was like a money back one. And I always see that as a red flag. When a challenge is offering a full money back guarantee for a ridiculous weight target.
There are a lot of coaches that crash diet people. And I sometimes wonder, some of these testimonials and things, do they come from, like, theoretically, you can get someone to lose weight really quickly. You can get scale weight to drop off really quickly. But then what? What happened? Did they write the testimonial then when they're at their absolute lowest scale weight? Oh my God, I did the thing that I wanted to do. But then, did you ask them what happened 3 months later, 4 months later? What then?
It's a snapshot in time, much like content, isn't it? It's a snapshot in time. Now,
but I was just totally agree with you. Like, no wrong things about that. It's some people though won't know that until they've gone through the journey.
No, I agree.
So we can't say that those people are necessarily wrong for doing that, because it's like, well, you wanted to see, like I wanted to see. I cut down to 5% body fat to be on stage when I didn't realize that afterwards I was going to feel like shit. So as you know, stepping on stage, like now you know that wasn't the best path, and like we can use that as an experienced people and tell them, but they need to feel it sometimes. Not all of them, but
some of them. But right, we're going to do the wheel. I'm going to get on the wheel. Let's do the wheel. Let me grab the wheel.
The wheel of fortune or misfortune. This is this or that
it's
today.
Not that bad, is it? You're sounding like some weird dodgy thing that we do.
What's that?
The wheel.
The wheel of fortune.
Right, do you want to wiggle, Philly, if you want to come this direction to the other side of the wheel.
There you go, grab that bad boy.
If you want to come more this way, come to where the crack is, just so you're in shot still. Yours is still working, mine's still working.
Crack of doom, don't fall down it. Right, you're going to spin this. This is a this or that. You've got to say which one would you do?
Okay.
Which one do you prefer?
Do I have to give a reason?
You can, but let's keep it quite quick.
Okay.
Like quick fire.
Finish?
Yeah, crack on. Spins well today. Does spin well today. You've done well with that.
Can't even read it from
Apples or bananas? What do you prefer?
Apples. I don't like bananas. Is that weird?
I think it's a little bit weird, isn't it? I like a banana.
I don't like a banana. No.
Pink lady? That's too late.
Definitely pink lady.
Cold or hot shower?
Hot. Who has cold showers? I know. No. I like to burn myself in the shower.
Oh, you scalding temperature kind of hot.
Kombucha or kefir?
Kefir.
Right, Nick, do you want to have a little go?
Yeah.
What are you going to go for?
It's spinning really well today.
It is.
Diet Coke or full fat Coke? First of all, it's not fat, sugar. full sugar Coke.
You wrote fat.
You hate that too?
Yeah, I hate
That's
that
why I put
too.
it in. That's why-
Oh, yeah.
I mean, full sugar Coke is definitely the best for me.
Mine's Diet Coke. Although
Yeah.
I'd have Coke Zero because I don't really like Diet Coke. It has a weird taste. doesn't
Or
it?
Pepsi Max.
No, Coke Zero.
Coke Zero.
Yeah.
Coke Zero all day. Right, I'm going to try not to hit you. Ugh, split squats or lunges? That's a tough one. I'd actually go with lunges. I just like the kind of feeling that I'm going somewhere.
lunges?
Yes. Yeah, I feel like I'm going somewhere. I feel like Bulgarian split squats just become monotonous. I'm here. But at least if I'm doing a lunge, I'm like, 5 more steps.
Yeah.
3 more steps.
I get
2.
that.
And you can do that, whereas split squats is like, oh, I'm just going to keep going.
I don't know. If you want a juicy ass, I'd say Bulgarians.
I'll say Bulgarian.
Yeah.
Oh, not for juicy ass though.
Yeah,
really?
for juicy ass.
No.
What, so you do them just for sadistic
for
pleasure?
stretching the quad in its most stretched position whilst putting load on it. That's why I like it.
Oh, okay, equally.
Yeah. I used to have knee pain. It fucking sucked.
Go on then.
List or hit?
This? No, I like both. That's quite hard.
Yeah?
I don't know.
5 hit sessions a week?
No. List.
So
Say less.
list for people who don't know what it is, low intensity steady state cardio. So that's like Stairmaster, going on the treadmill for 25 minutes, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
HIIT is where basically you go to boot camp and they fuck you up. That's essentially what that is.
Well, I
Good
mean,
explanation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. That is it. I personally prefer low intensity steady state, but I prefer it doing out in runs. I like going somewhere. I feel like I'm like a dog. I like doing something. I like having an endpoint.
There's room for both because like HIIT training got a big fucking trend in the past, whereas like everyone should be doing HIIT training all the time. That's how you burn. That's how you raise your metabolism, your afterburn, 24-hour metabolic rate.
No.
It's like nah, like this is so effective, and like if you look at a pyramid, this is the bottom. You need to have a foundation of strong lists.
Yeah. I think it depends what the context is, obviously. I mean,
course.
like, if you are prioritizing strength training and you're trying to get in some cardio around it, I'd probably say list, just so that you're recovering well from your sessions. Because if you did HIIT all the time and trained, you literally just fuck yourself up.
Yeah.
Brisk walking does count as list as well. So technically, if you're walking and your heart rate gets to a certain level, you are technically in a low intensity steady state
Yeah.
cardio.
Yeah.
Do you go
So-
for 1 more each?
Yeah.
You start. Hip thrust or abduction
For
machine?
me, I mean, fucking hell, I don't do anything.
I haven't
do I?
seen you do a hip thrust before.
I can do hip thrust.
I'm not saying you can't do a hip thrust, but I'm saying I've never seen you do one.
Hip thrust because it solved knee problems and back problems I've had throughout my life.
What about yourself?
How can you say one or the other when they're two quite very different things?
You just fancy putting the abduction machine on there, didn't you?
Well, you got to choose. Which one is it?
I don't know how to choose that.
Because
I mean,
they are different movement
yeah.
patterns for
Okay,
the glute.
you can't. You'll never be able to do one of them for the rest of your life. You can only have one.
oh, I'd probably hip thrust then because you get more out of it.
Yeah, then an abductor machine.
But you need some kind of lateral glute movement.
Yeah,
though.
you do. I think that would have been better if you did hip thrust
You
or
got a
like
band to it though, and that would make it slightly more lateral.
Slightly,
maybe?
but not really.
Slightly.
hip thrust. You could have done a hip thrust or RDL there.
Yeah.
That would have been a better one. But I'd probably still go for a hip thrust because
Yeah.
what's sicker than throwing around like a heavy weight from your hips?
Yeah.
Not that I've done it for a while.
And there's lots of variations of hip thrust that you can do.
Oh,
so
trust me.
I'm going to say that because just purely because you can do lots with it.
That's a hell.
Hip thrust.
Right, do you want to go for one more? Final spin?
Me.
Yeah, go for it. Like,
Oh, done that.
easy to gain muscle or easy to lose fat?
Easy to gain muscle.
Yeah?
Definitely. I wish it was.
Yeah, 100%.
That spoke like a true ectomorph.
I know. The long girl over here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I'll do one more. Go on. I don't know which one. I'm probably going to get the same one again.
James Smith or Joe Wicks?
Are we saying which one to eradicate off the face of the earth or which one
Yeah,
to...
which one are we eradicating?
well...
You got to eradicate one.
Oh,
Joe
so...
Wicks.
I would go
Really?
Joe
Yeah.
Wicks, but he's also done quite a lot for the general like activity side of things, whereas James has done more for education, I argue. You know, if you think activity, Joe has got the nation moving during COVID. I think that was
has,
a massive
But
thing.
he also talks a lot of shit.
Oh, recently he talks a lot of shit, yes.
They both speak a lot of shit. I think that's just part and parcel of being like an influencer at that level.
Well, it's
Is
not
that-
a coach influencer, you know.
Yeah. Like you're never gonna have any coach that at that level that says something that isn't shit at some point. I don't think.
Joe Wicks, I think, is at the forefront of my brain with his like protein
recent.
thing recently.
Yeah.
Protein
Yeah.
bars.
How much of that is he believes that, or he's doing it for marketing to try and get this message out there?
Well, he was encouraging people to eat protein bars not that long ago, so I
Yeah.
think it's money maker for him.
face on the earth kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right, we're going to round that off. So, thank you so much for watching. Philly, now what we do is we plug away our guests. So, the camera in front of you is where you can plug your services, yourself, whatever you want to plug away. The floor is yours.
Okay, fantastic. Well, you can find me on Instagram, Philly_Fleming, or phillyflemingcoaching.com. Those are the best places to get a hold of me. I'm an Instagram whore.
Perfect. That's a great way to round off. But thank you ever so much for watching, guys. We really appreciate you stopping on this one, and thank you so much for 500 subscribers. God knows how many download on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys, and we'll catch you guys later.